Hello guys, and welcome again to Baking in Camouflage. I know that's a tight fit. Today is gonna be all about Toblerone or Toblerone. I think they are known pretty much all over the world. You know, those triangular shaped chocolate bars with those delicious pieces of Turkish honey in them. Fantastic. Now, when I first stumbled across a recipe for Toblerone cake, I was really thrilled, more than excited. I mean, Toblerone and cake? It doesn't get much better than this, does it? But actually, it wasn't really all that amazing. The dough was not really sweet and had a rough texture, and there were way too few Toblerone pieces in there. The whole thing tasted more like cornbread than a cake. So I heavily modified the recipe, and let's just see what happens, shall we? First, I'm going to put 300 grams of fine plain flour along with a 16-gram pack of baking powder and a pinch of salt into a bowl. Separate 4 egg yolks from their whites and whisk the whites until stiffened. You know all about that. Pour some unwhipped cream, that's a 1/4 liter, into a container. And add some milk until you reach 300 milliliters. Pour that straight over the egg yolks. And add 150 grams of powdered sugar. Usually I would use 200 grams, but since we are going to incorporate white chocolate in there, we don't need as much sugar because the white chocolate contains very much sweetness already. Melt some 200 grams of white chocolate along with 100 grams of unsalted butter, low and slow. Pour the white chocolate and butter mixture right into the egg yolks and give all that a good mix. It should still be fairly liquid. Pour it into the flour mix and do your thing. Don't forget to add the egg whites. Like I said in the previous video, I have a tendency to forget them in the fridge. I'm using 6 100-gram bars of Toblerone. I'm using the old-fashioned genuine ones. They have just about the right size, so I don't have to cut them up into even smaller pieces. And I use about half that amount, so that's 600 grams in total. I'm using 300 grams right now to mix into the dough. And you can sprinkle them with flour a little. When you make a fruit cake that's supposed to prevent the fruit from falling to the bottom, I don't know if that works with Toblerone as well, but I'm gonna give it a try. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna pour them in like this. Pour all that in a pre-buttered baking pan. I preheated the oven to 200 degrees Celsius or centigrade. That's about 392 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna let it sit there for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to add the other half of the Toblerone bars. In fact, I think I'm only using 500 grams, not 600. So 300 grams are already in there, and after 10 minutes, after the dough has stiffened a bit, I'm going to add those 200 grams. I think that's more than enough. Why am I adding them later? Because supposedly that should prevent them from sinking all to the bottom. I hope. About 10 minutes have gone by. The dough is starting to look a little different. And now I'm going to sprinkle the rest of the Toblerone pieces right on top of that. Alright! With a little luck, they won't sink to the ground all the way. I mean, they can't all sink to the ground now, can they? Now I'm just going to wait another 25 minutes. Okay, another 25 minutes have gone by, and if you have lost track, we were baking the cake for a total of 35 minutes now, but since it's not even close to being baked through, I turned down the heat to about 160 degrees Celsius. That's about 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, I think I'm going to wait another half hour or something like that, and then see if it's ready. Doesn't look half bad now, does it? It was in there for about 35 minutes, exposed to 200 degrees centigrade, and then another like 30 minutes exposed to 160 degrees centigrade. I'm gonna show you the test. Stab the dough. Comes out clean. Should be through. Now I'm going to let it sit there and cool down completely before I remove it from the baking pan. And what's really amazing about this cake is that even when it's cooled down completely, the Toblerone bits stay all soft and melted. How cool is that? They stay that way. Yeah. Okay, that should do the trick. I'm going to use some pre-made milk chocolate icing this time. And since I'm not really into half-assed baking, I'm going to use another one of those. Okay, first verdict is that after all, most of the, if not all of the Toblerone pieces sank to the bottom and the dough looks really coarse. I guess I have to give it a try. Good, I've just tried it, and honestly I have to say, if you don't have that Toblerone encased in dough craving, this cake is not really necessary to make. I mean, it's really good. The Toblerone, the Turkish honey, the milk chocolate icing, but the dough is just even though I heavily modified the recipe, as I said, it doesn't taste like cornbread anymore. It's sweet, but it's still kind of coarse, and the 200 grams of white chocolate I added and the plus over 100 grams of sugar I think I added, and plus I separated the yolks from the egg whites. All of that didn't do shit. Sorry. Sorry for my bad language. But it's true. I kind of worked my ass off to modify the original recipe, and it's still not much better than the original recipe. So it's kind of an epic fail. But no, it's not totally for the waste bin. I mean, it's eatable. It's kind of okay, but I wouldn't make this cake for someone who tries my baking for the first time, or I don't know how to put it in words. Let's just say my chocolate cake or the New York style cheesecake are way better, and I'm still searching for a Toblerone cake recipe that's really edible. Not only edible, but really amazing. Because I mean, Toblerone cake, you can't get better than that. But I tried so many things and it's not really as good as it sounds. Please comment, please.